Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Field Notes, recording again in my office. So, not in the field, but there's something that's been pretty exciting that's been going on, at least exciting to me since our last conversation, which is vibrational intelligence, or VQ. I was looking through old transcripts of this podcast and discovered that I've been using this term pretty much since the beginning, just dropping it in, weaving it. And it feels like something that's been building beneath the surface, kind of like perfectly timed for spring. Now that I think of it, I'm recording this on March 22nd. The spring equinox was 2 days ago. And it feels like this energy around vibrational intelligence has really exploded really in the last week and a half. So what had happened was on LinkedIn, my friend Topher had posted an article about relational intelligence by Isabel C. Howe that just came out in the Stanford Social Innovation Review. And I loved it. Amazing article. And on his post, I just commented, what if we went even further? What if we talked about vibrational intelligence, where it's not just about me and you, it's about the whole field of information that we're inside of. And Topher liked it. A couple other people liked it. And it just kind of lit up in me. Well, what if we made VQ a thing? What if we really thought about what it means to give language to a universal human experience, which is attunement, and to have that language not be super specialized, not be spiritual? Because in spiritual spaces, we talk about vibrational intelligence all the time. Reiki is vibration. Energy healing is vibration. When we tap into a morphic resonance field, obviously that's vibration. So all of that is vibration. But then when we go into professional spaces or spaces that are more ostensibly linear, it's not that we stop having vibrational attunements or experiences. We just stop talking about them. And the cost for that is pretty high. Right? So when we are out of sync, when we're out of vibration, when we're out of attunement, stress, lack of sleep, feelings of isolation, when we only work, for example, at a beta brainwave state all day, our brains get exhausted. There's so much more space, so much more frequency available to us anyway. The idea being vibrational intelligence, just like IQ, just like EQ, now RQ, conversational intelligence, CQ, everyone comes up with their own things. These are capacities that we can build. And I think one of the misconceptions about intuition, quote unquote, or vibration is that we kind of have to wait for it to strike, or we have to be on some sort of a spiritual path. I believe it's just a human capacity, something that we all have. So when we start to practice VQ, more information becomes available to us, more connection with ourselves, with each other, with the wider world. The other thing to add that I get pretty excited about with this is that VQ is a form of intelligence that AI can never even pretend to touch, because it doesn't have a body that coevolved with the earth. It doesn't have a body that coevolved with the ocean or the forest or bears. Even if you put AI in a body, which will happen at some point in the not too distant future, that body can't attune to frequency, to knowledge, to consciousness. And so it feels like there's a lot of conversation right now around AI, like A, how do we use it? B, how do we stake out what's uniquely human? And this vibrational intelligence feels like a way of getting ahead of the curve to say, hey, here's something that we can build a capacity for as humans that AI simply can never do. So no matter how powerful it gets, it can't get information from a tree. It can't engage with a shamanic journey. It can't visit the library, which is the modality that I've talked about here before. So VQ isn't just a term. The exciting thing that's happened over the past couple of weeks is that I wrote an article about it, and then I started thinking about, how do we really build the capacity? Like, what are the core, in coaching, we have core competencies that you're trained in. What would be the core competencies of VQ that you could kind of tune into and work on? So I've come up with, I think, 5 or 6. One is attunement. So what is our capacity to attune, right? If you think of it like a radio dial, to tune in to what my body's telling me, to a space, to shifts in energy. How do we gain more facility with actively tuning in and tuning out of other frequencies, right? One of my favorite practices, it comes from Jose Luis Stevens, is what he calls opening and closing fields. That's an exercise of attunement. When we open fields of connection, open fields of healing, we're opening ourselves to those frequencies. And when we close fields, I'm closing fields of anxiety and closing fields of fear, we're closing our receiver off to those frequencies, because each of those are just frequencies and vibrations. So that's attunement. The next one is range. What is the range that we're able to tune into? At first, maybe it's just attuning to the truth of our heartbeat and our breath, the frequency of our own body. And then maybe we can tune in to a plant, right? Or a place. Maybe we can tune into different frequencies of spirit or consciousness. But the idea is there's really no limit, at least not that I've found, to how wide and vast that range can be. So as we build the capacity for tuning to different ranges, we're going from, generally, most of us in Western culture have a very small frequency band that we're comfortable in, and we just expand that through practice and through experience. The third one is discernment, right? How do we discern noise from signal? If we're a facilitator or a leader, how do we discern what's mine vibrationally and what belongs to the group that my body is trying to process for them, or even for me? How do we discern from something we're projecting from our mind, something we really want to be getting a message about, versus what we're perceiving from the field, right? Or from another person? And so that too is a skill. And one of the biggest reasons I think that people don't exercise their vibrational intelligence is the difficulty in discerning signal from noise, anxiety from intuition. And so we can practice that discernment in really concrete ways. The fourth is trust and action. It's one thing to get information, and then it's another to actually act on it. This is one of the reasons that, for example, I do Quiet Vision as a group instead of one-on-one work. Quiet Vision being the 3-month immersion into, and I didn't realize this at the time, but it's a 3-month immersion into vibrational intelligence, is that when we do it one-on-one, if I have an intuitive moment, right, I get great information, and I'm working with somebody one-on-one, there's like 60-40 chance I won't do it. I'll go back into my life. I'll go, whoa, that was a crazy experience. Anyway, I'm still going to make the smart, quote unquote, smart decision. When we do this as a group, we're creating a community of practice that helps strengthen us in trusting the information that comes through and taking action based on it. And then the last one is tending. Because this is a practice, just like an athlete practices every day or a meditator practices meditation every day, how do we tend to our vibrational intelligence? How are we practicing it on our own, with others, with trees, with pets, right? How are we keeping ourselves exercised in that attunement to vibration? So those are the 5, I think there was 5, maybe it was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least at this point, the 5 core competencies of vibrational intelligence. And I think one of the reasons I'm so excited about this is it feels so friggin' obvious. Like, it's so clear what the benefits of this are. It's so clear that this is a missing piece in facilitation and leadership development and coaching. Not that people aren't doing this. People are absolutely exercising vibrational intelligence, but we don't have the language for it, right? So maybe we call it attunement. Maybe we call it woo. Maybe we call it, oh, it's the magic part. The language creates a container that is inclusive of any number of modalities and practices, right? Reiki becomes a beautiful practice on its own and also an exercise of vibrational intelligence, right? Reiki, we're tuning into a specific frequency or set of frequencies and sharing them with another being, right? So that they can thrive, so that they can heal. Facilitation, in the best cases, is an exercise in vibrational intelligence. We can't facilitate really, really well in an emergent way unless we've built that capacity in ourselves. There's one other piece that another duh moment that it came to me today, that one of the things that we tune into a lot in the quiet vision space and when we're practicing vibrational intelligence is the brainwave states of like alpha, theta. So most of the time are in a beta state, problem solving. Alpha is I'm vastly oversimplifying this flow state. Theta is a visionary state associated with mystical experiences. So the Schumann resonance, which is the innate foundational frequency of the earth that is created by its electromagnetic field, is 7.8 hertz. 7.8 hertz is almost exactly at the gateway between theta and alpha, when we can access these expanded states of consciousness and expanded information. That is not an accident. That's a design feature in the bioelectrical and biomechanical systems of our body, that we are designed to, when we're attuned to the Earth's frequency, our universal mother's frequency, that we co-evolved with over millions and millions and millions of years, we are designed to be able to access more information and guidance when we are in coherence with the Earth's own frequency. And that is vibrational intelligence. I'm super excited about it. I feel like I'm running after a train that is going really, really fast, and I have no idea what's going to become of it, but I'm just going to keep following it until I catch the train or the train gets away, or I fall on my face or fall off a cliff or something. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.